Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Hydro, your host. Like always, on here on Wrestling MMA. This'll. I got some sad news. This is the second to last episode of this show. Since this will be, I only planned on doing 10 episodes. This is our 11th, pretty much, with the specials and everything like that. But this is technically episode 9. We had 2 specials. We're gonna have 10 episodes. We're gonna have 10 episodes, pretty much. Technically, that won't, but it'll be 12 technically. So, yeah. So sorry, but we are. I am. I'm looking for someone to literally, I guess, take my spot. Hopefully, as if make it their own. Hopefully, they will. We'll figure out all the details, and sorry, got something in my throat. We'll figure out all the details and everything like that later on. But after episode 10, it's over with, and for a little bit at least. This will just be season 1, I guess. Season 1, and then next week will be the last episode. So, but as far as that goes, we can get into a little bit, and if anybody's got any questions, they can ask right now, or they can say hello, because I see those 2 viewers are watching. So, anybody want to say hello? Well, we got 3 viewers now. We got 3 viewers watching. If anybody wants to say hello to me, that's perfectly fine. I can say hello back. So, got 1 like. Hey, hello, Melvin. How are you doing? So, anyways, what does everyone want to get into first? Do you want to get into the MMA side of things, or do you want to get into the wrestling side of things? Either way, we're going to do half and half. So, well, since I already got the wrestling side of things already up, we'll go with that first. All right, Melvin. So, it's going to go into that. So, but we'll just go ahead and go on into this right now. That the Osprey Shingo match, I think it was that was last week. It did. I looked at it the next couple days after that. It's like, I did mention that it should get a 6-star match. It did. Dave Meltzer listened. So it's one of very few that have gotten a 6-star match. I can remember watching the Okada Omega match, the first one, and that got a 6-star match, and I thought that was like one of the best matches I'd ever seen. So, and that's going on to, it's like they outdid each other every time. And it seems like in the Shingo Osprey, that was their number 4. That was their 4th match ever, singles match ever. And they got a 6-star. Every time that they fought, they all got 5 or 5.5 stars. Of course, Devin, you got to interrupt me. Wrong show for that, Devin. New Japan, I know that I talked a little bit about it last week. New Japan had has had more COVID-related issues to postpone shows because they are literally, I guess they're under a little bit of a lockdown. So, no Okada versus Osprey at the Wrestle Grand Slam. That was supposed to happen at the end of the month. But I guess that's not going to happen. So, What do I think about RK Bro? I watched a little bit of Raw last night, and I seen where they were teaming up with New Day against AJ and Omos, and also to take on Elias and Jackson Riker, I guess. That's what his name is. I'm not sure. I can't keep up with all these people. New people coming up all the time. But I do like the team, and I did think it was kind of funny that whenever Matt Riddle was like, or whenever Riddle told, like, whenever Randy gave the RKO to both Kofi and Xavier, I thought it was kind of funny because he was like, Randy, you ain't got no. It's like, we ain't going to have friends if you keep on RKOing everyone. So that was a little bit funny. Okay, let's talk about the blood and guts from last week. The blood and guts steel cage match. Yes, it was funny. Melvin. Lightning Bay. What's Lightning Bay? What? Okay. Well, Justin wants to get on here real fast. So we'll send him the link real fast. Hold on 1 second. We'll go do that real fast. Yeah. And there's my mom. So we'll send him the link, and then we can talk about different things. I guess before he gets on here, we'll, since we did talk about New Japan and stuff like that, that kind of is, we'll talk about the blood and guts and stuff like that when we get to Justin. I thought the GOAT was going to die when, Chris Jericho. Yeah. We'll talk about that here in a minute, Melvin, whenever Justin gets on here. I mean, so that way we can talk more about it. But as far as the New Japan thing, well, we'll go ahead and discuss this now. What's up? I thought you weren't feeling good.
I thought it may help me.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought.
I thought it may help me because I kind of had some stuff going on earlier today.
Right, I understand. We're about ready to get into the blood and guts.
Did you hear about Ricky Starks?
Yes, that's what. That's another thing. He's injured and out for months, apparently. Yeah. So, what did you think about the blood and guts steel cage match?
To be honest, it felt like the spot that Jericho had was more planned by him.
Oh, yeah.
To get what I would call the ultimate kill game in G.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, I mean, it's like they say that, whenever Matt Hardy fell off that ladder onto the table or whatever, and then he kind of went right through, onto the concrete and then hit his head.
Do you think this could have anything to do with Jericho's tour schedule for Fozzy?
Maybe.
Because anytime you do that drastic of a measure to a legend, you're going to get the heat that very few can handle.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of what
You're cutting in and out a little bit. Yeah, I can barely hear you. It was like kind of like static a little bit.
What MJF, I think.
Do what now?
MJF did to Jericho reminds me of what he did.
I still can barely hear you.
Hold on.
Okay. Oh. Just got logged off. Hello, Jonathan. I went ahead and shared the video to all the groups, so that way you don't have to. I just thought I'd let you know.
I'm back.
Okay, that sounds a little bit better.
What I was saying is, it felt like to me, the comparison that I made is when Orton took out all those legends in his early days. That's
Okay.
what it feels like with JF. He's looking to get the heat that he can either A, capitalize on,
Right. Well, the Blood and Guts, the whole show did really great ratings, from what I've been told and what I've seen. And that's really good for them. But the only thing that I don't get is like WWE and people in WWE saying that it set them back 30 years, but look at what WWE did last night with the whole old Papa Shango thing, where
I
he tried to put a spell on while Alexa Bliss tried to put a spell on Shayna.
I really think that coming from, I don't know if it came from Vince or not, but they're saying if down the road they can't sign MJF, they've got no backup plan.
Right.
Because he has came out and said when his contract runs out with AEW, he's going to listen to offers from WWE.
Hell, he may not go to WWE at all.
Well, if they can get everything, a solid foundation to add him to, then that's a different story.
True. Well, I do want to mention that if you haven't seen Cody and the Elite, really, you've seen them apart. You haven't really seen them together that much. There might be a lot of heat there. I think that I mentioned this on. I don't know if I don't think I really mentioned anything, but I'd always thought about it because Cody's on the mid card and the Elite are, Kenny and the Bucks are in the main event and stuff like that.
I think the situation with Cody is he's trying to give back because he has came out and said he wants to retire in sport and move backstage.
Right.
So with Cody, that heat could necessarily be due to the fact that what if Jericho did approach Cody and say, I'd be willing to waive the agreement so you could challenge one more time.
Right. Well,
which I'd always thought those type of stipulations don't stick around after the champion loses the belt.
Yeah, and that was whenever Chris Jericho was the champ, of course.
But we don't know. I really think the foundation with Guevara, Starks, if he could stay healthy, and MJF, they don't lose him.
Well, Jungle Boy also.
If they lose MJF, I don't think it'll be a big blow because I think Darby's getting ready to blow up.
I think they're pretty much already like developing young talent, and that's the thing that like they're getting all these guys that are kind of young. I mean, you mentioned it, Guevara, MJF,
and then the
Jungle Boy, and Darby. I mean, he's been around for a little bit, but he hasn't been around the whole lot.
And I can't help but the agreement. I wonder if the beneficiary for Moxley holding the U.S. title from New Japan would be that Cody could get a hold of some of those young boys in Japan.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'd like to see, like someone like, like I was mentioning earlier, New Japan right now, they've gotten more wrestlers that have tested positive for COVID. They've at least got 7 now, from what I've been told. So,
and it's just one of those things where, yeah, the way that works, where it's kind of the old rep. I look at it and say, New Japan loans out their young talent until they're ready.
well, I mean, you look at, New Japan. They got the New Japan dojo for the young ones, the young guys, and but I mean, it just seems like WWE just goes after the people that's like established. They don't try to help the younger, like.
Well, they do have somebody in Swerve that if they build him in NXT the proper way.
Yeah, but he came from the independents, though.
That's what I'm saying. If they build him the right way.
And if it wasn't for, like, literally Swerve was, I mean, even Sammy Callahan has said this, that was his first project. So
So I think if they give Swerve the right character and he absolutely nails it and they build off of it, I want to see if Hunter actually has. Really, you can't say he doesn't have the courage to do this, but maybe give Swerve an exclusive contract to NXT where he can't be sent to either SmackDown or Raw.
Right. Well, with AEW is supposed to be going back on the road in July, which that will definitely be good and stuff like that. I'm going to talk about WWE a little bit. Jimmy Uso is back. So the Usos that just builds up their tag team division a little bit more.
Again, they're not even the best tag team in their family.
They are a pretty good tag. I do like them as a tag team. I did like the New Day against the Usos, little feud there.
That kind of the reference I made was God.
Well,
I think God and
God don't have no competition in New Japan. They've had to go out and get tag teams.
Not only that, I think the only team that really matches up with God is the Briscoes.
Yeah, and that used to be barn burners right there. They used to be some actual fights. Becky Lynch signed a new contract with WWE.
SmackDown, I would assume.
I'm guessing. I just know it was a new contract.
Oh,
so
Britt Baker added a new move.
What'd she add?
Curb stomp.
Oh, well, that's been like that for a little bit.
But the way she does it,
it's with the heel.
What worries me is if she drives down off of that with the opponent angled the way they are. If she's not careful, it's going to lead to a neck injury.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan is a free agent. He's not really interested in a full-time gig in WWE, apparently.
My prediction on Daniel is part-time. I can see that because of family purposes. But Ring of Honor, we know what he's done there. I think the possibility for him to face Guevara, even if it's just a one-off match, would be there.
Well, I know that he wants to wrestle in Arena Mexico, so the only way that he could do that is in CMLL. And they're supposed to be going back to regular schedule too, from what I've. So one of my buddies actually lives down in Mexico, and he's told me about it. So.
And then the one that really gets me, and the one I want to see, is Swerve versus Daniel.
If Daniel Bryan does go, if he does re-sign with WWE, I'd like for him to go down to NXT.
He just got more. I think he got safe. To me, he's not going to say it's about how safe the workers are down in NXT, but it seems like the day you go in NXT, you're taught how to be a safe worker.
Yeah.
But I really want to see maybe Daniel and Impact.
You know, I don't think he's ever really, as far as I know, he's never really actually gone to TNA.
I'm not going to say James Storm because that would be a nightmare to watch, especially if James gets a hold of his neck.
I might like to see him take on Chris Sabin. Hell, even Rich Swann.
And I was reading something the other day. I may get you to dig in on this. How I had told you, like, certain superstars have the right to all their stuff, like Matt and Jeff, and AJ. Those are the three. You can add Samoa Joe to that mix because he owns the rights to everything he does.
Right.
We've talked about this in the past. I wonder if Robert Roode has those rights, because if he didn't, he wouldn't be able to use what he's doing, the name he's using right now.
That's true.
So I wonder if they could be setting him up to maybe return to the It Factor.
It's hard to tell.
That would be a really nice gimmick for him to face Roman with.
Well, I do want to mention that Vince McMahon is wanting to shake up the pay-per-view schedule.
The only four that are lock and set in my book are the big four.
Yeah, the big four. Well, probably a big five now because, like, you got to add Money in the Bank now.
What I would do with Money in the Bank is put it back where it started.
Yeah.
Instead of the Battle Royal, put money. You could run them separately. I really think the Evolution pay-per-view that they did for the women.
Well, they technically could have two Money in the Banks at WrestleMania if they keep it to the 2-night thing.
What I was thinking is maybe use the Evolution name, but not theme it around the women, and kind of reference the evolution of WWE itself.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see is them condense the hardcore style pay-per-views.
Well, I do want to mention one more thing before we go to our sponsor list. Jinder Mahal is back. He already made his, I guess, comeback on main event, WWE main event, and kept on taking out either Akira Tozawa or Jeff Hardy. And he's back and set for a big push with his new
Brother Nero.
Brother Nero. With Matt,
Matt kind of questioned Jeff on why he's putting over Jinder.
Well, yeah, Jeff, a lot of people were like saying that he might be done with WWE, but he signed for like a 3-year deal. Unless he gets released, then that's the only way.
The other way I think he could get out of his contract is because he's the only superstar currently on the roster that Vince can't make money off of without his permission, because of everything being copied. Everything that Jeff has is copyrighted under the Jeff Hardy brand.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they can work something out. I mean, it's usually a 90-day no-compete clause. But I think with Jeff, he could strike some sort of deal where if he works through a set date.
Right. Well,
kind of like Ray works through a set date, and then he can get his release and immediately start working somewhere else.
Right. Well, I do want to say we do want to thank our sponsors. That's the wrestling part of things. We'll go into the sponsors now, and if anybody got any more questions about wrestling, then feel free to ask on here on the comments and stuff. But as far as the sponsor list, we got at least 17 sponsors, trying to get up to 20 at least. I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there by the end of the year.
You got more sponsors than Nate has titles.
Oh, there you go then. Well, we got Our Place in Dunedin. and Our Place in Clearwater. Most of these are down in Florida, if a lot of people are wondering. Brenda's on the Causeway. Clorox Company, where you can get all the stuff to kill this the virus that's gotten its name off the beer. Ozona Pig. Eddie's Dunedin. Hurricane Eddie's Dunedin. Snappers Comedy Club, Palm Harbor. Joe was there just the other day. He keeps on bragging about that they got the best wings. Gino's Pizza, Palm Harbor. Anything could be that better than that one pizza that I had the other day. Country Boy Dunedin. One that I actually needed a couple weeks back was Massage and Skincare Solutions. I need a good massage. Mason Dixon, Christmas Wish, Q105 radio station, 104.7 FM. Renew Life Formulas. Classy Jazzy Jewels, which you can get your paparazzi, $5 paparazzi jewelry. You can get a hold of me or one of the other guys to get more info. Red Rooster Gift Shop, run by Chris and his family. And Chris's where he goes and gets his haircut. Of course, I don't get my haircut at all. If I do, I get my wife to do it. Helm Salon, and that'll do it for the sponsors as far as this show goes. So, but we'll go right into the MMA stuff. I do want to go into a little bit of the boxing because, like, I did watch boxing Saturday night. Canelo Alvarez against Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo won. He said that he would. He said he would win. He would finish Billy Joe in either the 7th, 8th, or 9th. He had to get his rhythm going. He waited in probably the first 3 rounds. Pretty much found his rhythm in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So, but he finished him in between the 8th and 9th because of an eye injury. Because and actually found out that he had he's got a fractured orbital bone. So,
I will say this: Canelo looks unstoppable, but there are going to be boxers that he'll run into, especially if what I read is true about him unifying a couple more titles.
I think he's only got one more he wants to unify the whole super middleweight division. So he's only got one more guy to really actually do that to, from what I've been told.
I think a lot of he'd been off for a while, so it's not as if
he hadn't been out for a while. He'd been actually boxing. He actually boxed, December, and then he boxed in February. Then he usually boxes around May and September. It's usually about that. And I know he usually does it around May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo. But him and I think from what I understand, he got $25 million just for the fight, and that's not even including sponsors. What he got,
but every generation of boxing has its break. That one that really stands out.
Well, I was talking to somebody the other day, it's been a couple of weeks at least, and we were talking about how Canelo or Floyd Mayweather is the best. And I will agree that he is, he's one of the best to ever do it.
He's the best
of his
generation.
Right. But right now, Canelo is pound for pound best.
I'll say this like fighter. I say in any other chat. You can't compare generations.
Yes.
Because the style that Mayweather faced benefited him.
Yeah. Even though I think that the Mayweather Pacquiao fight could have happened sooner, which it didn't because of, promoters and.
Well, and the other thing is, Canelo right now, I think for him in that middleweight division, there's guys coming up. I mean, there's a guy I watched that's in the division lower than him that actually trains with Conor at Conor's gym. And he's finished 4 of his 6 opponents in under 3 minutes in the first round.
Right.
So they're kind of expecting him to go up, and because of the style he has, they're saying once he goes up, he could actually be the biggest threat to Canelo's. Because the reason I think they say that is this guy has that rare ability to take advantage of a situation, especially how Canelo came out slow.
Yeah.
You come out slow against someone that has a solid right hand, or in this case, the left hand, you're going to be back on the ropes before you know it.
Yeah. Well, I did want to say that, Canelo is probably his best pound for pound right now. And I talked to the one guy that I was talking to, and I guarantee you that Floyd Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather's supposed to be fighting Logan Paul in an exhibition, which we'll get to that here in a minute.
I'll credit Floyd for one thing. He's smart enough to say, if I fight, I'm going to do an exhibition, so that way I don't have to promote it.
No, so that way he don't have to lose anything on his record, because he has beaten a lot of good guys.
I will tell you this: I had heard something that both camps have talked about maybe doing an exhibition fight for charity, because there's a lot of charities that Canelo helps with what he does for his own people. And then it's kind of the Michael Jordan effect, where Michael Jordan donated, I think it was like $1 million for 20 years to inner city youth to help kids of color get the proper gear they need. I think that could be something that would really draw, if both of them could agree to do it for a charity. Like Canelo would have to do it for, obviously.
I don't see him actually doing another. I don't see Mayweather boxing Canelo again, because since he's already really.
Have you actually gone back and watched Canelo's entire? Go back and watch his first 2 or 3 years before he really broke out.
Yeah.
And then it's the classic example. He took that evolutionary. He skipped steps 2, 3, and 4.
Right. Well, I do want to say, Mayweather is smart, and he's supposed to be fighting Logan Paul in an exhibition. Of course, Logan Paul was the brother of Jake Paul, and
I hope Cormier.
Oh my gosh, oh my God, Jake Paul. He really loves to get under people's skin, and he did that. He pretty much he likes to take the whole steam out of even his brothers, away from that fight. Because he took he was like right in the face of Floyd Mayweather, and he pretty much just was like, I took your hat, and then they went after him and everything like that.
The other thing that I don't think the Pauls realize is guys like Floyd, Pacquiao, and Mayweather run their own promotions.
Well,
I
I
do
think
know
pretty much Mayweather does. I mean, because
Pacquiao runs. It's not as big because he obviously does it back in the Philippines to help
yeah,
those young boxers. And I think Mayweather centralizes in Las Vegas.
right.
So to get those the young 12, 13-year-old boys off the streets and keep them out of trouble, that could really, I mean, it's not a legacy move. Like I had heard somebody tell me, but Cody starting up AEW is a legacy move. I'm like, no, it's not. Because if he wanted a legacy move, he would have made an offer to buy NXT.
Yeah, I don't think he really wanted to buy a company when he could just make his own. And
But it's not a legacy move. He's giving back to the sport he grew up in.
right. Well, I do want to. We'll go into the UFC, Bellator, and PFL things. Oh God, what I'm about to mention kind of, I don't know, it bothered me a little bit because, like, Diego Sanchez. I mean, I did talk about this last week, where Diego Sanchez got released by the UFC. His life coach or whatever he is to him, a lot of people have said that he's his lover, but Joshua Fabia, um, Diego Sanchez was hanging. I don't know if you've seen this clip or not, where Diego Sanchez was pretty much hanging upside down, and Joshua Fabia was pretty much punching him, kicking him, and slapping
I
him
did
right in the
see it,
face.
and I want to make a reference to Spider-Man on that,
Okay, go ahead.
where Spotty was hanging upside down and Mary Jane pulled the mask down.
Right. Well, that's completely different.
But that's what it looked like.
Yeah. I don't understand what is going on with that whole thing. I mean,
I
it,
mean, I agree with you. I don't understand, but theoretically and philosophically, you've got to ask yourself, is Sanchez being brainwashed?
I really believe so. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's like, I mean, when he got released from the UFC, it was just, I mean, he's gone on record to say that he hadn't even been able to talk to Dana White in like 2 years, but but all of a sudden, he can talk to Dana White, can talk to Clay Guida. But I mean, we don't know the whole situation, what's going
And
on.
I
And
think it's best that Dana kind of keeps it on the down low, because if there is something mentally wrong with Diego, we don't know his injury history, especially head injuries.
yeah, I mean, he's done a lot for the UFC. He was the first Ultimate Fighter winner. And a lot of people don't remember that because, like, they always think, well, Forrest Griffin is the original one. No, Diego Sanchez was the first one to win it because, so,
I don't even know if
do,
it's possible to even look up Diego's concussion history, if he's had any, without having to jump through hoops to do it.
right. Well, I do want to say that Joshua Fabia has actually accused Dana White and one of the matchmakers of sleeping with the female UFC fighters.
I mean, I've kind of had my suspicions for a long time.
Well,
That
that's
they,
what me and Faithbury been talking about was like, well, what about with Dana White and Ronda Rousey?
I don't look at Ronda as much as I do, uh, not the sleeping part, but prime example of somebody being in White's back pocket.
Right.
Liddell.
Well, I don't think that Dana White was sleeping with him.
No, I'm saying we know 2 of the 3 fights with prior to the one in Bellator that Tito finally got the monkey off his back.
Oh no, that wasn't even in Bellator. That was somewhere else. That was in Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions.
But what I'm saying is, we know the friendship between Chuck and Dana.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I still say that Chuck shouldn't have been fighting. He shouldn't have been fighting.
There's fighters. I mean, I just think. I said for the longest time, Connor was one of those that was basically kissing Dana's backside to get the absolute most money he could.
Right.
And it hurts your legacy if people find out you were you were doing stuff to help Dana do a process of elimination in your division.
Yeah. I do. But speaking of the UFC, I do want to go into UFC 262. It happens this weekend. Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler for the vacant lightweight title. And also in the lightweight division, Tony Ferguson takes on Beneil Dariush in the co-main. It was supposed to have been Nate Diaz taking on Leon Edwards. Nate Diaz got injured. So
yeah, boys can't stay healthy.
UFC results over the past weekend was, well, I mean, I kind of turned it off after whenever Canelo and the Canelo fight was going to come on, so I kind of turned it off. But I know that Marina Rodriguez beat Michelle Waterson because I read it was a decision, so it wasn't really. I think like it was in the 4th round whenever I turned it, so. And that was a weight above where they usually fight at anyway. So,
but here's the deal, and this is the problem I think Dana's going to have for the next 4 or 5 years. Anytime you line up a fight card with, or a UFC pay-per-view with Canelo, you're going to lose every time.
Right. Well, I don't think that this was actually supposed to have been. Well, the main event wasn't even supposed to be Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson. It was actually supposed to have been TJ Dillashaw taking on Corey Sandhagen.
But what I was saying is, anytime they run their pay-per-views head-to-head with Canelo is going to have a higher buy rate.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that Canelo's the indoor stadium thing. Whenever he fought this past weekend was, I think, the biggest United States at 73,000 people. The only ones that have beaten that was the 2 in Wales with Anthony Joshua, and that was at 78,000.
The thing with Canelo is, I do not know if he's fought in MSG yet. I know he's fought everywhere else, but I can't recall him being on an MSG card.
Hang on a minute. I'll see if I can look it up. Go ahead and keep on talking.
If he has it, once he does that, he's in Ali status because he's that dominant.
Right.
And as dominant as he is, the longer his win streak goes, right, the more.
Yes, he has actually fought in Madison Square Garden.
Title fight, I assume?
Oh, yeah. Right now, he is an Mexican professional boxer. He has won multiple championships in 4 weight classes from light middleweight to light heavyweight, including unified titles in 3 of those weight classes. Alvarez is currently a unified super middleweight world champion, having held the WBA, Super, WBC, and Ring magazine titles since 2020 and the WBO title since May 2021.
But he also got, I look at this way, him unifying the lower divisions under the high division he can fight in, which is the light heavyweight, will allow him to take more fights at a catchweight.
Well, he hadn't lost since Floyd Mayweather, the fight in September of 2013.
And he was just getting started on this run that he has.
I think he was only, oh my gosh, he was only 23 at that time.
You know what's so impressive about that loss? He took it, learned from it, and made himself a champion. Most people that lose to Mayweather completely fade away.
Well, Mayweather has beaten a lot of guys. I mean...
And, you know, Canelo, it's not the comparison that I would have made at first. He reminds me of a younger Mayweather, where he just stays ahead of what his opponents are doing.
Well, I will say this, that Mayweather has beaten a lot of good guys. Let's see. I was trying Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Victor Ortiz, Mikel Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao. His last one was against Conor McGregor, but we won't go into that.
Conor was in over his head. Floyd just let Conor gas out.
Yeah. But we have reached pretty much the end of the show, and I will say that PFL was Fabricio Verdum got a no contest against his opponent because a lot of things happened in that. Probably too much to really go into right now. I thought it was
situation.
Well, it's what I was talking about on Saturday. You know, where he got that loss overturned to a no contest because like the other guy was, you know, because you could see he tapped to Fabricio Verdum's triangle choke.
Verdum has a lethal triangle.
Oh, I know. Look what he did to Vador. But I will also say that during the Friday, Anthony Johnson picked up a win, his first fight back in probably since 2017 at least.
Did
probably.
You get to watch it?
I got to watch it, yeah.
How did he look?
He got rocked. He rocked his opponent, and then his opponent rocked him with one hand because his other hand broke on top of Anthony Johnson's head. As he was literally like shaking it. He was like, well, I only got one hand. But yeah, but now apparently Johnson is going to be going after the belt, he's going to be fighting Vadim Nemkov for the
kind of when you look
title in the tournament.
When you think a fighter's been out that long, kind of the one thing that I always have a question of is octagon shape.
Yeah, ring rust technically.
Was he physically fit to actually?
Well, I will say, and I will get back to that, but I was wanting to. But the other thing that happened was Sergio Pettis won the bantamweight title off of Juan Archuleta. Unanimous decision, which was, I knew he'd win it because like just kept on countering and everything like that. So, but as far as Rumble goes, he apparently got arrested after that fight because of a 2019 little incident that happened. So, but we'll probably go more into detail tomorrow. on Devin's show, Sports Magnet Podcasting, on Wednesday and Saturdays. I'm not sure if Joe's going to have his show on Thursday or not yet. We haven't really discussed it or anything like that.
He's not even worried about it. He's worried about vacation.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't blame him on that. He may end up coming back tomorrow night on Devin's show. You never know, but I'll definitely be on there. I hope Devin's going to be on there. Hope he don't miss his own show again. I mean, he's been pretty good so far, so. But we'll go, but we'll figure that out a little bit later. But anyways, next week is my season finale of this show. As far as right now, may go into season 2 down the line, but as far as being on Tuesday nights, it'll probably be over for a little bit. So next week we may end up having a pretty big show. I know, like, we're almost having a pretty much an hour-long show here now. And I was only going to do this for show for 30 minutes.
That's what happens when you get two people that know what they're talking about.
Well, true that. I understand. So other people got to understand that too.
I think that's why me, you, and Devin work so well together.
Right. Well, when I left, y'all didn't really have I don't think y'all had like a bad guy on there with you. So, and pretty much whenever me and Joe were on there, we're pretty much both heels, and Devin's the babyface. And you can tell Devin's the babyface. So, I mean, you're the babyface with pretty much the knowledge, and I'm the heel with this just doesn't give a crap. He'll say anything on this one. We'll go with that. So, but anyways.
Dog.
Oh.
I'm up at my uncle's.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we will jump off here, and if we need you tomorrow, I guess we'll call you. I guess we will. I'm sure we will. So, but I'm going to jump off here, relax a little bit. Hopefully, we will be back for the final episode for Wrestle MMA next week. You going to try and be on that one?
Yeah, I should be better by then.
You should. I mean, I'm giving you a week.
I mean, I'm just going to take it day by day.
Right. Well, we'll try to have some other people on here too, so that way we can just go into whatever we want to talk about. I think that's probably what we're going to do. Is just go into whatever we're going to talk about. So, but there's no Bellator this weekend. UFC 262 is this weekend. I'll be talking a little bit about that though. I think PFL don't come back until June. So anything you want to, any final thoughts?
I mean, not really. Let's just see where this angle goes with the Inner Circle and MJF and his whatever you call him.
The pineapple.
No, exactly. As Joe would say.
Well, I think that's what Jericho would say. He'd be like the pineapple, and then Sammy has to tell him, and it's the pinnacle. Pinnacle.
Just to let you know, RKO Bro is getting their own merchandise, so they're long term.
I still thought that was so funny last night. Whenever Riddle, after Randy already RKO'd Kofi and Xavier, and Riddle all he was like, Randy, if you keep on RKOing people, we're not going to have any friends.
That's the point.
I think and then of course Riddle, you look at Riddle and he's just like, Okay.
They work so well together because Riddle is the one that he's going to say stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And at this point in his career, he takes everything so serious. As Joker would say, why so serious?
Yeah, definitely. But this has actually been probably the longest one that we've done. So, but we will be back for one more episode. So,
At least one.
Well, one more. Season finale next week.
Yeah. And if something big happens that needs talking about, that's a different story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have that. I think I talked enough about wrestling on Devin's show, and I think that's one of the reasons why I want to just keep to that, because I do this show and then also do Devin's show on Wednesday and Saturday, and now I'm also doing Joe's show on Thursdays whenever he comes back, and so, but we will, I mean, in this show we'll be back. I'm sure of that. It might just take a little bit of time after next week's episode because I only planned on doing 10 episodes and that was it. So, unless something crazy happens and we need this episode back or need it back. So, but as for me and as for Justin, we will see y'all next week, or we will probably be. Well, I know that I'll be on tomorrow. So, as far as I know, and hopefully Justin will be on there too. So, but so long, goodbye, and good night, everyone. Hopefully everyone stays safe out there. So, bang. Bye.